Thanks, everybody. The developer has offered to pay $80 million to satisfy claims in the lingering bankruptcy case in Villages. Let me stop right there. There's been a rumor going around, I don't know how it got started. People have a tendency to have other people, and me, I get it all the time, where they say, you said, and you said. And I never said. But they misinterpret what you say, and this is a misinterpretation right here. There's a rumor going around that the developer is going to pay $80 million. That does not say that. It says the developer has offered to pay. All this has to be approved in the bankruptcy courts, and none of this has been approved. This is just something that they're offering. A proposed settlement was filed Friday in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Middle District of Florida. It proposes that the money will be utilized for payment of claims through the Villages Health Plan and liquidation. The bankruptcy process has been expensive. Baker & Hostler, LLP, a firm that has long represented the Villages, recently submitted a $2.5 million bill for its services in the bankruptcy case. That only covers the period from July until October. A top-notch New York consulting firm was hired to shepherd the bankruptcy process, and it has submitted a $5.6 million bill. Many others have lined up and are seeking repayment, including medical equipment companies, medical service providers, labs, maintenance and cleaning companies, and individuals. This summer, the Villages Health had to borrow $24 million to sustain its operations. I'm not going to read all this to you because when I did the updates the other day, a lot of this was already in that video, so I'm not going to repeat them. These things are getting way too long for me to keep reading the same things over and over and over. The developer $80 million proposal is independent of and reached separately from a final agreement between the Villages Health and the Department of Justice. In that case, the former health system has agreed that the federal government shall have an allowed claim in the Villages Health bankruptcy case to resolve the Villages Health's self-investigated and self-reported Medicare billing issue, according to the press release issued by the Villages. Self-investigated. I laugh at some of this stuff. Oh, it's just people have no idea what's going on around here. And let me just throw this in here too. The idea of them accepting this $80 million that he's offered to it, I got this from somebody else. I don't know if it's been reported yet, but I'll report it, is because part of that deal is that of them asking the developer for their past W-2s and 1099s and all that stuff that they were asking for, that goes away. So here's the $80 million, that goes away. So then nobody will get any kind of tax records from the people at all. So we'll see what happens. This picture of this guy that you see behind me, those of you that's lived in the Villages for a long time, does that guy look familiar to you? If not, you haven't been keeping up with the news. Remember the story we reported a couple years ago about sex on the square? A guy and some older gal actually had sex on the stage at Lake Sumter Landing, and then later City Fire took advantage of that, and they actually had a drink that you could order. I don't know what it was, but it's called Sex on the Square. Well, this is the guy. A man involved in the infamous Sex on the Square scandal was jailed after returning to the scene of the 2014 escapade that brought unwanted headlines to the Villages. David Allen Babilla, 60, of Summerfield, will forever be remembered as the younger male half of the notorious after-hours tryst at the pavilion at the Lake Sumter Landing Market Square. Babilla was sentenced to 6 months behind bars for his role in the racy incident involving a married villager who was nearly 20 years elder than him. Babilla was back at Lake Sumter Landing on Sunday night, where he had been drinking and dancing, according to the arrest report. After he'd had his fun for the evening, he climbed into his blue 2004 Jeep SUV, where he was caught alternating between 28 and 41 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone on Buena Vista Boulevard. His vehicle jerked when traveling through the roundabouts on Buena Vista Boulevard. During a traffic stop, Babilla admitted he'd consumed 2 to 5 beers at the square. He struggled through field sobriety exercises and became so frustrated at his ability to correctly recite the alphabet, he began using profanity. He provided breath samples that registered .128 and .127 blood alcohol content. He was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. He was released after posting a $1,000 bond. I can picture the profanity, can't you? Okay, A, B, D, C. No, wait a minute. A, B, C, G, D, F. God damn it. That's funny. But I can relate. A villager has been arrested after his 2 dogs were found in a hot car in his driveway. Charles Anthony Benz, 68, of the village of Hacienda East, was arrested Thursday on a felony charge of aggravated animal cruelty as well as a misdemeanor charge of animal cruelty. The report noted that Benz had caused the dogs excessive unnecessary pain and suffering. Deputies had been called to Benz's home at about 3 p.m. that day at 1316 Pomona Lane, according to the arrest report. They found 2 large poodles, Cooper and Murphy. Cooper was sitting upright and panting heavily. Murphy's tongue was extended and also panting heavily. Soon Murphy was extremely lethargic and she could no longer stand. The dog appeared to go into a seizure and was unable to drink water. Cold water was poured on the dog in an attempt to revive the animal. The dogs had apparently been left in a black 2016 Chevy SUV parked in direct sunlight with no shade in the driveway at the Benz home. All the SUV's windows were rolled up. The outside temperature was 77 degrees. Now, I know you're going to think 77 wasn't that hot. Black is the worst thing to have on any sunny day. It'll overheat inside. 2 sisters had been passing by and spotted the dogs who appeared to be in distress. The sisters were able to open the SUV's doors and drag the dogs out of the vehicle. It was apparent that the dogs were overheated. One dog had blood coming out of its mouth. Ooh. The sisters initially feared one of the dogs was dead. Ben soon arrived home. He said he had taken the dogs to the dog park and then came home. He had to take his wife to an eye appointment. When Ben arrived home, he spotted someone working in the yard. Ben said he needed to talk to the person and totally spaced out about the dogs. I can go along with that, but down here, you've got to be aware of your dog's a hot car, and you just can't forget him. No more than you could forget a child. He went outside, got into the second vehicle and took his wife to an eye appointment, leaving the dogs behind. He was taken into custody and booked at the Summers County Detention Center. He was released after posting a $3,500 bond. A villager was arrested after he allegedly attacked a man walking a dog who peed on a pole near his home. Robert Joseph Trawler, 62, of the village of Lake Denham, was arrested Thursday on a charge of battery. Trawler was apparently enraged when he saw the dog urinating on a light near his home on Kenneth Street, according to Lake County Sheriff's Office. Trawler, who stands 6 feet tall, weighs 240 pounds. I have no idea what that has to do with anything. They put some of the stupidest things in these reports. What does it make you 6 foot and 240 pounds? What's that got to do with a dog peeing on him? Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm ranting again. Was armed with cutting shears when he confronted the dog walker and attacked him. The dog walker had to fight back and defend himself. Trawler told the deputies that the dog has been a problem for 2 years and that the dog walker had been warned. Now, I'm going to go along with that, even though you just heard me say that was wrong. Now I'm going to tell you that this is right. If I'd been letting his dog tell him where I'm going to go pee, because I think I know what's going on here, and it's been going on for 2 years, and this guy was warned about it, it comes a time to where enough is enough. Trawler was booked at Lake County Jail and he was released after posting a $1,000 bond. Now, I'm assuming by reading this report, they're talking about the light that every house here has. It's the one up by your front door, pretty close to the front door, up by the porch that leads into the house. Way up there. Why have you got to walk your dog clear up by a person's house? There's no sense in that. You stay in the street. If a dog wants to urinate in the grassy area, I say within a foot of the road, okay, I guess. I don't agree with that either, but I guess it's okay. They do it here all the time. I've just gotten used to it. But to walk all the way up to the front of a man's house, and usually where that light pole is, usually there's flowers around that. People plant flowers around there. And the dog's peeing all over everything. They'd be taking me to jail too, just to give you fair warning. A visitor to the villages has been ordered to seek a mental health evaluation after creating a scene, leading to her arrest. There's many more of those here. Anna Marie Zapopka, 59, of Box Elder, South Dakota, offer a plea of no contest this past month at Lake County Court to a charge of disorderly conduct. She was placed on probation for 6 months in order to seek mental health evaluation. Officers were called at about 3 p.m. September 9th to the Holiday Inn Express on Avienda Central, where Zapopka was in a lobby yelling and screaming at employees, causing them to fear for their safety. When officers arrived on the scene, hotel employees indicated that Zabobka was not a guest at the hotel. Then why was she even in there? It appeared she had been drinking. Oh, I'm shocked. She was obviously intoxicated and smelled strongly of alcohol. She was exhibiting outlandish behavior and violent demeanor. She refused to calm down. An officer attempted to handcuff Zabobka, who stands 5 feet 2 inches tall and weighs 115 pounds, but she resisted the officer's efforts. She grabbed onto a nearby maintenance golf cart and refused to be placed in the back of the patrol car. After she was placed in the patrol car and they arrived at the Lake County Jail, Zabobka went limp and refused to walk. A 2-year-old child. I'm not moving. Oh gosh, the officer had to carry her into the intake area of the jail. If I was a police officer, I'd have just grabbed the handcuffs because they hurt. I'd have just drug her in there. So get up, just get up. Zabobka did not return home after the incident. Instead, she registered an address with the court at Sun-Kissed Village RV Resort in Summerfield. I know where that resort is. Linda and I went over there when that place first opened up, and we did a drive-through, and we went inside their rec building, and we did all kinds of videos over there to show you what it looked like on my RV channel. It's really a nice place. Not a lot of shade trees, but it's really a nice place to stay, and you're not but 10 minutes, if that, car ride to downtown Spanish Springs Town Square, and all the shopping and all the restaurants. So it's a good place for an RVer to park. Zabobka had detailed on her social media her travels in the Sunshine State, including a golf cart ride through the villages. And make sure you report everything, ma'am. You let me know. The Villages will celebrate the opening of its newest recreation center. A ribbon-cutting celebration is set for 9 a.m. Thursday, March 26th for the Blanchard Recreation Center. Residents are encouraged to come out for the event and see what the new recreation center has to offer. Located at 1512 Craig Court, the new recreation center is situated next to the Woodlands Championship Golf Course. The recreation center has a hot air balloon theme meant to symbolize adventure and new heights. I think we have some pictures of what the inside of the rec center looks like. Let's see if we can bring them up here. The new center features a distinctive design theme inspired by the history of hot air ballooning. The facility's interior is defined by a balloon-inspired aesthetics, highlighted by a large hot air balloon installation created in partnership with Cameron Balloons. This focal point is situated in a high-ceilinged area of the center, complemented by themed wallpaper and 3D wall art depicting various colorful balloons. Continuing the theme, the individual rooms within the center are named after historical pioneers of balloon flight and exploration. For example, one area of the labeled the Yost Room is in honor of Paul Edward Yost, who invented the modern hot air balloon. The lobby and reception areas further incorporated this motif with balloon-shaped pendant lighting and soar signage. Once operational, the Blanchard Recreation Center will offer a range of indoor and outdoor amenities for residents. The center includes dedicated indoor spaces for arts, crafts, billiards, and shuffleboard. The facility also features multiple meeting rooms and casual lounge areas designed for neighborhood gatherings and creative classes. Outdoors, the facility features several courts for pickleball and tennis, as well as area for bocce. A specific date has not been announced for the new center, which is situated at the corner of Corbin Trail and Craig Court. So tell me, what do you think about these new recreation centers? They're all about the same. They just have different motifs inside, different themes inside, but they're all basically about the same. You have recreation centers, neighborhood recreation centers, then you also have regional recreation centers. I can't speak much south of 44, but I think it stays the same. Here, north of 44 and all the way up to Spanish Springs, regional rec centers is where you pick up your guest passes. That's the easiest way to pick up a guest pass. You can do it online, so you don't have to go down there and stand in line to get a guest pass. You can just do it online. That's where the sports pools here is all located. I don't know about down there. So these are the little things you need to know. The difference between a regional rec center and a neighborhood recreation center south of 44. Ask the people down there. They can tell you the difference. I can't. I know I've been down there. I think it's about the same, but I'm not 100% sure. Well, I think officials are worried about a new state law that would put restrictions on e-bikes. The Florida legislature has sent a measure to Governor Ron DeSantis' desk, which would place restrictions on e-bikes, which up to until now have been treated like traditional bicycles. The legislature has taken the action due to the rising number of accidents associated with e-bikes. The new law would mandate a 10-mile-per-hour speed limit within 50 feet of pedestrians, require audible signals when passing fellow pedestrians or cyclists, and would create a task force to track crashes and recommend further regulation. E-bikes are widely popular in Florida's friendliest hometown, and they quickly seem to be outnumbering their traditional cousins. Even if the governor signs a new law, enforcement of the rule on e-bikes would be nearly impossible on multimodal paths in the villages. The multimodal paths are considered a private road, and there is no enforcement for speeding and other violations. I've always told people that. You only come subject for police officer or somebody to pull you over and give you a ticket or whatever is if you're on the golf cart path that shares the roads with cars. If you're on a golf cart path that does not share roads with cars, it's private. And unless there's an accident, they can't do anything about you speeding. I'm not saying you should speed, I'm just saying they can't do anything about it. Community Development District 4 Supervisor Jim Murphy applauded the legislation but wonders how it could be enforced in the villages. The issue that's going to be facing us is, how does it get policed? No one is answering that for special districts. The law is good, but how are we going to handle it? Well, first of all, we don't have to handle it because we're not the law. That's the way I see it. He noted that some e-bikes are zooming along at up to 30 miles per hour on the multimodal paths. Don Dean, a member of the Amenity Authority Committee and also a CDD4 supervisor, said that due to the lack of enforcement, law enforcement will be limited to responding to problems that have already occurred. If there is a crash, they will have the authority to investigate the crash, but they won't have the ability to prevent the crash. Well, maybe it's just me, but that's a big duh. Police has never stopped any crime. Any crime. They're always after the fact to enforce a law. An employee of the village's health is seeking more than $50,000 in damages from the villages following a slip and fall incident that allegedly occurred in a parking lot last summer. Jamaica Brown, a resident of Lake County, filed a lawsuit against the holding company of the Villages Incorporated in Lake County Circuit Court on February 5. According to a complaint, Brown alleges that on July 17, 2025, she was walking at the outside front entrance of the Village's Health Shared Services Department at 1149 Main Street in Lady Lake. Brown claims she was traversing to the parking lot and walkway when a liquid substance on the ground caused her to fall. The complaint alleges that the villages negligently maintained the premises by permitting the walkways to retain water and other liquid substances and by failing to place warning signs for patrons. Brown's attorney argues that the company had actual or constructive notice of the dangerous condition but failed to provide a safe area for employees and guests to walk. As a result of the fall, Brown claims she suffered bodily injury, physical impairment, loss of capacity to enjoy life. I'm sorry. I find these charges almost hilarious. She is seeking a jury trial to determine the full extent of the damages. I only have one set of advice. Watch where you're going. A handyman who botched a wiring job at a home in the Villages has been ordered to pay the homeowner $10,000 in restitution. Jitendra Sakhu, 45, of Leesburg, is poised to escape criminal prosecution on charges of unlicensed electrical contracting and contracting without a license if he pays the restitution and successfully completes 12 months of probation. A woman hired Sakhu, who was running a business called Jerry's Handyman Service. Well, wait a minute, let me back this up. What's his name again? Jitendra Sakhu. Name of the company is Jerry's Handyman Service. In 2024, to renovate 2 bathrooms, including moving the light switches and adding an additional light fixture at her home in the Seneca Villas in the village of Hemingway. Nice area. She had purchased the villa, constructed in 2008, earlier that month for $395,000. The villa owner, who is from Ohio, told an investigator that in November, she discovered that Sakhu failed to properly wire one of the bathrooms. He failed to make proper connections through the junction box, failed to protect wires from contact with metal studs, and had floating wires wrapped only in electrical tape. In addition, there was no installation of a ground fault receptacle and a ground wire was not completely secured in the wire nuts. He hid the shoddy work behind drywall, the report said. Saku walked off the job, and the woman who had already paid him the $3,800 had to hire a licensed contractor to complete the job and make repairs. The woman said Saku had portrayed himself as a licensed electrician on Facebook and other social medias. An investigator from DPBR checked state records and found that Saku was not a licensed electrician. The investigator had a difficult time tracking down Saku. The investigator went to Saku's residence in Leesburg where two vehicles were parked in a driveway. The investigator knocked on the door and immediately heard two dogs barking. The dogs abruptly stopped barking and no one answered the door. The investigator left paperwork at the door notifying Saku of the disciplinary action against him. So apparently he got a hold of somebody. Listen, I'm not being critical about anything that happens. I know things happen, especially when you move to a strange state. You don't know how things are done in that state. We were the same way. We didn't know. That's why when I recommend people that I know, is people I've done business with, and I know you're safe with these people. I don't know this guy. I wouldn't recommend this guy to my worst enemy. I don't know him. First of all, the name, and the name change of the business and his name. Now, I wouldn't be doing business with this guy. And second of all, I probably wouldn't do business with him because he's in Leesburg. I believe in doing business with locals if you can. And so far, that's what I've done. Be careful. When you hire somebody, I don't know how to check everybody out. I'm not that big of a whiz on that kind of stuff. But this guy was unlicensed. Now, I'm sure there's probably a website you can go to and check this guy out to see if he has a license. Or is it honorable enough to simply come right out and say, I want to see your business license and take a picture of it? Or email it to me. Is that fair? I think it's fair, but I don't know if you're allowed to do that. You know, how many times have you went to a doctor and asked to see the doctor's license to practice? I never have. I just assume it's there. And in this situation, it's probably the same thing. So if you come down here and have any kind of work done, check everything out. Be careful. I don't want to see you get ripped out of money. Apparently, she'd been ripped out of $10,000 to get that job done right. Now she's trying to get it back. He says he's going to pay it, I guess. Time will tell. The Florida Highway Patrol is investigating a rollover crash in the Villages that caused a traumatic injury. The crash occurred at 1:25 p.m. Sunday on County Road 466 and Belvedere Boulevard, according to the preliminary information from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. At least one person was traumatically injured in the crash. The Villages Public Safety Department also responded to the scene. Well, I hope they come out okay. A villager with a history of drunk driving arrests has landed back behind the bars. Robert Earl Alley, 64, of the village of Sable Chase, was being held without bond this weekend at the Sumter County Detention Center on a pair of probation violations. Last year, Alley was sentenced 90 days in jail. His driver's license was revoked for 5 years and he was placed on probation for 1 year. Alley's first arrest for driving under the influence came as the result of an incident in which he was found passed out in his golf cart at about 11:30 p.m. June 5, 2024 at the entry gate of the village of Bonita. He was disoriented when an ambulance crew transported him to the U of Health Spanish Plains Hospital in the Villages, where he spent 5 days in the intensive care unit. Medical records at the hospital later showed he had a blood alcohol level of, oh my lord, 0.557 when he was admitted. Dude, you better give it up. A warrant had been issued for his arrest, but he had not been taken into custody when Alley was arrested in February 2025 after he was spotted driving a sport utility vehicle without headlights at Lake Sumter Landing. A deputy initiated a traffic stop, and when he spoke to Alley, the deputy could smell a strong smell of an unknown alcoholic beverage. Alley indicated that he had consumed 3 or 4 beers. When the deputy ran Alley's driver's license, he found that Alley was already wanted on a Sumter County warrant charging him with driving under the influence as a result of the incident in June of 2024. Alley refused to participate in field sobriety exercises, but he provided breath samples that registered .290 and .285 blood alcohol content. Man, some people just can't give it up. This guy's going to be dead because of it. The Bacaw Recreation Center Maltese Falcon billiard room will be closed for diamond light installation. If you have any questions or need additional information, contact the Bacaw Recreation Center at 352-350-2281. New lights. Wildwood Mayor Ed Wolf has changed his mind once again about running for the office of mayor of Wildwood. With half a century of public service behind him, Wildwood Mayor Ed Wolf has filed preliminary paperwork to seek his 11th four-year term in November. Wolf, 79, was appointed to the city commission in 1975 and elected the following year. He became mayor a decade later. He retired as a teacher and coach at Wildwood Middle School in 2005. In recent years, Wolf has presided over the city's explosive growth due to home construction in the villages of Southern Oaks south of State Road 44, apartment projects, and commercial development. Now, let me just say, all that they're talking about is all because of the villages and the building here. It ain't because of anybody else. Wildwood was named last year as the nation's fastest growing city by U.S. News and World Report. The estimated population of 33,000 was 5 times higher than the 6,500 residents counted by the U.S. Census in 2010. Each time he sought re-election, recently, Wolf said it might be his last term. Once again, he changed his mind. The mayor said he's proud of what Wildwood has accomplished and the quality of the city staff, adding that he is in good health. First of all, let's just say, right there is patting each other on the back. That's all they're doing. They're patting each other on the back. The mayor said he's proud of what Wildwood has accomplished. Wildwood hasn't accomplished anything. Wildwood is just a city. The city doesn't do anything. The developer and the Wildwood Commission, they're the ones running the show here. Coming from a coaching background, I'm not going to change the lineup, and we've got a winning streak going. Each time he sought re-election, Wolf has always said it might be his last term. Once again, he changed his mind. Well, good luck, Mr. Wolf. I'm not going to complain. You're the mayor. You're the one doing what you think is correct. But I question everybody's ethics. The commissioners, all of them. What is their long-term goal here? They never talk about it. It seems to me that their long-term goal is more about personal than it is reflective. This has nothing to do with the lifestyle of people that are retired. Why is it? For people to keep saying that the gates are no longer needed, we need to get rid of them because they cost too much money. Well, here's a story to show you just one little part of what those gates do. Surveillance footage from a gate camera led to the arrest of a Middleton woman in a theft case. Ooh, let's check into this and see how old this person is. Nicole Ann Moldenhauer, 26, who lives in a home owned by her parents in the family section of the Villages near the Villages Charter School, is facing charges of theft and drug possession following her arrest this past week by the Wildwood Police Department. Moldenhauer has been accused of stealing a patio bench from a front porch at Eden Magnolia Village, about 4 miles from Middleton, according to the arrest report. Now, everybody keeps saying, see, that this family thing is only going to be this area right here. And we've always said, people that really lives here for a while, that knows what goes on, because this is not the only family section that we've had in the Villages, and this is not the only excuse we've heard for having a family section in the Villages. We've always said it'll affect everybody. Children will not be confined to just that area. They'll be everywhere. And here's a good example of that. 4 miles away, she stole a bench off of somebody's property. Homer said that the brown and beige wicker bench was worth $330. The woman's Ring surveillance camera picked up an image of the bench thief. There were other reports of stolen porch furniture at Eden Magnolia Village. The detectives with the police department checked with the Village Technology Solutions Group, seeking surveillance images from the gate cameras at Middleton. Molden's 2022 blue Nissan Kicks, with her clearly at the wheel, was seen on surveillance. The camera also picked up an image of a brown, beige wicker furniture in the back seat of her vehicle. Moldenhauer appeared to match the woman caught on the Ring camera footage at Eden Magnolia Village. Moldenhauer went to the Wildwood Police Department headquarters this past Friday for an interview. She could not explain the surveillance images showing the stolen patio bench in her vehicle. Moldenhauer's parents were at the police station during her daughter's interview. Why? She's a grown-up adult. Why do you need to go up there to protect your little baby? She needs to pay the price. They said she had seen the patio bench in her daughter's home, but did not know where it came from, the report noted. They indicated they had purchased all of the other furniture for their daughter's home. Do you see what's going on here? A 20-some-year-old girl, and mom and dad's buying her a house, filling it with furniture. She goes to the police station for stealing something. They go up there to take care of that. These kids has got to start growing up. During the investigation, Moldenhauer was also found to be in possession of crack cocaine. She was taken into custody and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. She was released after posting a $6,000 bond. I wonder who put that up. Virginia Beach native was previously arrested. Last year, she was arrested in a dating violence incident. She was ordered to stay away from booze in 2023 following an arrest at Spanish Springs Town Square. Thanks, Mom and Dad. This is a retirement community, in case you forgot. Remember the guy up at Spanish Springs that was at a restaurant? He wanted to go to the restroom, but the restroom was closed inside of the restaurant up there because they was doing maintenance work inside. There was something going on. I forget what it was. And this guy started screaming and yelling and cussing at the people working inside the bathroom. And when they came out, I don't know if they came out to let him in or they were done. I don't know. But when he came out, he assaulted one of them. He took his finger and poked the guy in the eye. He was arrested for that and charged. So here's the update on that guy. And it's pretty typical of what happens here in the villages. A man won't be prosecuted in an attack triggered by a wait for using a bathroom at the restaurant Spanish Springs Town Square in the villages. Charles Anthony Gunn, 56, of Leesburg, will not face prosecution on a felony charge of battery, according to an announcement from the prosecutor's office. State Attorney Bill Gladson announced that an investigation revealed that this case is not suitable for prosecution. Now, what the hell does that mean? Gunn went to Americano's restaurant at about 7:30 p.m. October 28th, where he wanted to use the restroom, according to the rescue report from the Lady Lake Police Department. Gunn was found in the restroom door was closed because a restaurant staffer was trying to fix a broken paper towel dispenser. Gunn banged on the door, prompting the restaurant employee to open the door and informed Gunn that more time would be required to fix the paper towel dispenser. Gunn became belligerent and began using loud, profane language. There's no sense in any of this. I hear this kind of stuff, and the first thing goes through my mind, education. People need to start getting educated. Stay in school. Get your diploma. At least get that. When the restaurant employee came out of the bathroom, Gunn cornered him and poked him in the eye. When police arrived on the scene, they found the restaurant employee had suffered a popped blood vessel and had irritation to the left eyeball. Restaurant patrons who had stepped in to break up the altercation verified his account of what happened. An officer found Gunn standing by his green Corvette in a parking lot. The officer detected a distinct aroma of alcohol coming from Gunn. Criminal history check revealed that Gunn had been convicted in 1988 of an aggravated child abuse, and he's going to not be convicted or penalized in any way of a felony attack on this poor employee trying to work and just make a living. Now, I don't know how this case is on the inside. I wasn't there, and there's inside things that happen that we don't hear about. But I'll say this, if that was me, you don't need the restaurant's permission. He attacked the employee. The employee has a right to file charges on Mr. Gunn, and that's what I would do. This guy would not get by with this. He can cuss his way all the way to jail, as far as I'm concerned. Warning to all village residents about scams going on. Scam, and scams. That's all you hear anymore. On your phone, there's scams. On Facebook, there's tons of scams. I hate Facebook. I don't even like going there. I'm very private about what I do and how I do. I've been hacked a couple of times. One of my channels I never have recovered yet. I'm still arguing with YouTube about things. But these are just a bunch of foreign companies that they don't really care about us at all, or hard work or anything else. You know, they just don't care. The Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles is warning motorists of an ongoing fraudulent scheme involving counterfeit court notices that falsely claim to originate from Florida county courts and related judicial offices. These documents assert that recipients have outstanding traffic and toll violations and demand immediate payment. I actually received one of those years ago, showing a picture of a car. It looked like my car, but it wasn't my car. I was sure it wasn't. Saying that I needed to send so much money to this address or whatever for a toll that I didn't pay, and blah, blah, blah. That's all crap. They don't send you this stuff on your email. You don't get that. The fraudulent notices closely resemble official government correspondence and may include reference to Florida statutes and fabricated case numbers. Threats of license suspension, registration holds, or default judgments. QR codes directing recipients to unauthorized payment portals, unsolicited hearing dates, or instructions to remit funds immediately, or we will send the police after you. Don't listen to this, people. These communications are not issued by any Florida court clerk's office or state agency. Residents are reminded that official government entities do not request payments through QR codes, third-party links, or unverified online platforms. Please don't fall for this stuff. An unlicensed driver from Mexico was arrested after being stopped at the self-service car wash in Wildwood. An officer observed a gray Chrysler passenger car traveling southbound on Main Street around 6:45 p.m. Saturday, according to an arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. A check of the tag revealed the registered owner, 24-year-old Joslyn Hernandez Lopez, did not have a valid driver's license, leading to a traffic stop at Total Car Wash and Laundromat located at 435 South Main Street. I didn't even know we still had laundromats these days. When asked for her license, Hernandez Lopez advised that he had previously been involved in a traffic accident. She had been issued a citation for driving without a valid driver's license. Did you see the bad right up here? I don't think this company has any kind of a proofreader. She had been sentenced to community service in order to pay fines for that charge. She later added that she continued to drive because she was going to work, the report said. A check of her driving history later confirmed she had adjudication withheld by a judge in April 2025 for driving without a license in Marion County, the report said. Hernandez Lopez was arrested on a charge of operating a motor vehicle without a driver's license. The native of Mexico was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. A Wildwood man was arrested for battery when officers found him standing over his unconscious and badly beaten twin brother. Officers responded to Old Railroad Way to find 25-year-old Taylor Guy Foster's twin brother lying unconscious in the middle of the street around 9 p.m. Friday, according to the arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. He was lying face up with what looked like a broken nose, blood in and around his ears, a cut under his right eye, split lips, and multiple lacerations to his hands. Sumter County 31 arrived shortly after to help him, and they confirmed he had a broken nose. Foster was also in the area at the time, standing over his brother's body while yelling obscenities. He had a small cut under his left eye, which he stated came from a ruptured sty. Other visible injuries included substantial torn skin, cuts across his knuckles, consistent with recent physical altercations, the report said. He was immediately detained and invoked his right to remain silent. However, he mentioned that because he knew how to box and his brother did not know how to fight, he was going to go to jail. I'm not sure that's true. If you haven't ever boxed professionally, I'm not sure that's true at all. Later, after Foster's brother woke up, law enforcement tried to ask what had happened, but he could not recall anything from that day other than being with Foster at some point. He lost his memory. A witness was able to advise that he was inside watching TV when he heard a man yelling outside. He then went to the window to see Foster standing over his brother and yelling. At one point, he threw something at his brother, striking him in the face while he lay immobile on the ground. That's almost like attempted murder, don't you think? Foster was ultimately determined to be the primary aggressor and arrested. While being taken to jail, he stated he finished the fight after his brother started it. That's just hearsay. He became verbally hostile toward the officer, requested his full name and where he lived. He tried to provoke him by saying he could not fight. He subsequently refused to comply with corrections officers' commands requiring his hands to remain secured and for him to be out in a holding cell. He was charged with felony battery and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and was released after posting a $750 bond. I think this boy should have went to jail on a cool-off period. He should have remained there for a while, kind of teach him a lesson. This is what's crazy about our legal system here. It's nuts to me. Okay, how many holes in ones of golf do we get this week? Looks like 2. Joanne Hyatt of the village of DeLuna celebrated her first hole-in-one while playing hole number 7 of the Live Oak pitching putt on Monday, March 23rd. She was using a pitching wedge from 60 yards. Well, congratulations on your hole-in-one, Joanne. Gary Zielinski was proud to score a lucky ace on Saturday, March 21 at hole number 1 at the Palmetto Executive Golf Course. One of my favorite golf courses for executive golf course. They got 2 par 4s. He was using a 5-iron from a distance of 118 yards. The Village of Citrus Grove resident was playing with friends Ken, Sandy, and Jimmy from the neighboring village of Hawkins for a casual Saturday round. Well, congratulations on your hole-in-one, Gary, and congratulations to all of you for a great day in the Villages. How about a couple of letters to the editor? Sorry they're over there today. To the editor, I enjoy riding my e-bike and have never gone more than 10 to 12 miles per hour because I enjoy the scenery. I am retired and not in a hurry, but I have had many bikers zoom past me at their maximum speed. What for? I also have experienced rude golf cart drivers speeding past me with no warning and cutting back directly in front of me instead of gradually moving ahead with clearance before doing so. That's sent in by Donna Mole from the village of Monarch Grove. Well, Donna, yeah, I get it, but you have to understand, these golf cart trails, and they use them for everything nowadays, they're never meant for any of this. They're meant for golf cart traffic. That's how we get around. That's what started the village on this big boom, was the fact that they advertised you didn't need to drive a car here. You didn't need a car. You could get anywhere and do anything in the villages, shopping, doctor appointments, so on and so forth, a hospital, all by golf cart. You didn't have to have a car. That inspired a lot of people, including me, to come down here knowing that we could get around and we didn't really need a golf cart. So you can see how things was kind of mingling together. And then they decided that people was wanting to do a lot of bike riding because younger people was retiring and coming here, and they did different things, different activities than what the older people were doing. So they were doing a lot of bike riding, and they were complaining about the traffic on the roads and so on and so forth, as you could imagine. And they needed bike trails. Well, I don't know if they had the property to put a lot of bike trails in, or what they even wanted to. Here's what I say. They didn't want to spend the money. And so the easiest way to give them access to a lot of so-called safe biking was to open up our golf cart trails to bicyclists and make them multimodal. So now you have bicyclists and then you have walkers. All kinds of stuff goes on the golf cart trail that they were never meant for any of that. And I thought that was going to be a catastrophe then. It's kind of proved me wrong, but as we get bigger and bigger, it's becoming, especially in the wintertime, it's becoming more and more crowded on the golf cart trails to the point where people are getting hurt. There's been at least one person I know of died on the golf cart trail. Bicyclists sometimes, maybe not all the fault of alone, but they're not using their head a lot of time on the trails. I've seen it myself. 4, 5, 6 bicyclists going down a trail and just blocking the whole trail. They don't get out of the way. You know, they're doing 10 miles an hour and they're in everybody's way. And you can say, well, what's the hurry? It ain't the point is what's in a hurry. Speed limit is 20 miles an hour. I mean, if you're on an interstate and the speed limit is 70, 75 miles an hour, why are you in that left lane doing 55 miles an hour and getting in everybody's way? If you want to do 55, what's legal, why ain't you in that right lane? See, it's just that. It's just common courtesy. So here's my suggestion. I mean, I'm probably not going to suggest something to you that you ain't already thought about yourself. You got mirrors on your bike. If you don't, you should have. I think they're actually required. So if you get mirrors on your bike, you watch them mirrors, you're riding 10, 12 miles an hour, that's fine. Just do it. Enjoy the safety and everything. Scenery, but keep an eye on them mirrors. When you see somebody coming up behind you that's doing a fair rate of speed, don't worry about how fast they're going. You're not the golf cart police. Just get out of the way. Just ease off in the grass, let them go around you, and then when they're around you, just ease back on a golf cart path and continue on your way. That's the only thing I can tell you, because they have a right to be on that trail. You have a right to be on that trail, and you're going to have to work it out. And you're the slowest person on the trail. You say you don't do no more than 10 or 12 miles an hour. Speed limit on the golf cart trail is 20 miles an hour. So you're way under the speed limit. And when you start talking about 20 miles an hour, I don't understand the argument anyway. It's 20 miles an hour, for God's sake. Some people can walk faster than that, but you're doing 12. So I would say you're the one kind of at fault. Just kind of ease out of the way, let him go, and then you ease on out there and keep on going. Just because you want to go 12 don't mean everybody else is wanting to go 12. You know, a lot of these people that live here that ride golf carts, they work. They have a job. They have things to do, places to go. So if you're doing 12, you're kind of in the way. So hate me if you want. That's the way I see it. But thanks for your letter. I appreciate it. I'm going to have to recorrect this. I'm going to read it to you first, the first line, then I'm going to try to correct it. To the editor, the gates control cart cross traffic. You know, you people, when you send an email to somebody or you make a comment like this on the editor or whatever, do yourself a favor. I'm not complaining because I know what you mean, but do yourself a favor. Read what you just typed before you hit the send button. You'd be surprised that you can correct your own mistakes by doing that. I've caught myself doing it. What you're trying to say is the gate control the arms for safe cart crossing traffic, a significant safety factor. The cameras protect us all. We are all retired and should chill out, enjoy the villages. That's sent in by Joshua Bennett for the village of Buttonwood. Well, Joshua, that's true. We are retired. When you say, oh, we should all chill out, who's all? Not everybody's not chilled out. Most of us, we don't care. But there's a few. I don't know what you're referring to, actually, when you say we should all chill out. Golf cart traffic. Is somebody complaining about the gate guards again? In the wintertime, if you've been here long enough, this is every winter. We don't need the guards. They're just in a way. The gate arms should be taken down. Blah, 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 blah. Those guys at the gate shack, because I used to work there, and so I know a little bit about it. They're trained in a lot of other things. They're required to do training in a lot of other things, so they don't have a job no more. And some of those guys need a job to help pay for medicine and stuff like that. They are trained in the use of an AED machine around, which are scattered around. They're trained in CPR. They're trained on lost and found. They're trained on direction, and there's a direction box inside there for visitors that come through. On the visitor side of the entrance gate, the right side is residents, the left side is visitors. They're looking for Grandpa's house, never been here before, and they don't know where it's at, but they got an address. He's got a directional box in there that'll get them from that gate guard, wherever you're at, from whatever shack you're at. The direction box will take you to where you want to go from that shack. You have to follow those directions from that shack, not another shack. So they do a lot of things. For one, we found a young man that was on silver alert. We all were notified of it. We all got a black and white picture, which is kind of crappy back then. But what the guy was, license plate number of cars, so on and so forth. He had dementia. He got out of the house. He got in the car, wanted to go for a ride. His wife found out he was out. She called the police. And so this alert came out, silver alert. And I just happened to be the lucky guy that found him at my guard shack, and I held him there, told him, hold on just a minute. I said, let me get you something to drink, and then I'll get the direction. I'm just stalling time. I already made the phone call to my supervisor, and within 2 minutes, seriously, within 2 minutes, my supervisor was there, and the county sheriff was there. And we got the guy home. We made a phone call to his wife. She came and picked him up. We got the guy home. That's a lot of the things that the gate guards are trained to do. The little white card that you use to scan that thing there to get it to open the gate, that thing tracks you around. And you might think that's an invasion of privacy. I totally disagree. Because of that card is the reason we caught this young man on a silver alert. It tracks what gate he was at. We could get a direction he was heading in that car, what he was doing. This gate at 9, that gate at 9:05, that gate there at 9:10. We could see where he was at. So I knew he was in our area, but I didn't expect him to come through my gate. Luckily we did, and we got him home. So they're trained in a lot of things. So the idea of saying we don't need these gate guards, I wish they did more about explaining to the public, especially new people that don't understand what it is. There's all kinds of mistakes about the gates. They say it's supposed to be a gated community. Not as far as I know, it's never been a gated community. They've never advertised it being a gated community. It's a misunderstanding of words. People don't listen to what you say. They hear what they want to hear. They hear that a community with gates, and right away they think it's a gated community. They never said that. The ones that's been here for a while will tell you the same thing I'm telling you. It's a community with gates, but all of our roads are public, taxpayer roads. You cannot keep anybody out. So I hope that helps a little bit, and I appreciate it. Thanks for your letter. Okay, I believe that's going to be the news for this week. I hope you enjoyed the different way that I've done the news this week. Those of you that are Patreon members or YouTube members, if you're watching this, you see what happened here. You see the difference of what I've done on you for members and the way I'm producing the news here on YouTube. I'm doing it because it kind of frees me up, I think, a little bit once I get this down pat and exactly how to do things in what order. Then I won't be going back and redoing something and then redoing it again because I got it out of order. So I'll get better at this as time goes on. I may not do this way all the time. I may stop if it becomes too much of a problem, but I'm going to give it a shot and see if this works out. It gives me more time to do things like I got to get over to the camper. I ain't been over there since last September. I've got to get this done. I got to get the generator started. I got to take my suitcase generator, make sure it's running okay. I got to check the water heater. I got to check the engine batteries. I got to check the house batteries. I got to make sure everything's working good. And it's nothing that's hard to do, but it's just something I got to do. The one thing I really want to do on this RV that I haven't done, I've been wanting to do it for actually 2 years now. I haven't got it done yet. I don't think I can do it either because I've looked at it and just at my age it looks like it's just too much. I'm not that flexible anymore. I need to get a serpentine belt put on it, a new one. The one that's on it's not broke or anything, but I've had this vehicle now for 4 years, and it's the same serpentine belt that was on it when I bought it. And with this 90-degree heat we have down here for so many months, those things dry rot. I just feel better if I can just get a new one put on there. And the funny thing is down here, it's hard to find somebody that'll do it. You know, I could take it over to like Campers World or one of them places, but you know they're going to rip you off big time. And then they may have the damn thing for many weeks to get the thing done. And then when they're in there, they're going to find 15 things wrong with it. I just don't even want to play that game. So I did find one place that I called and they said, yeah, they could do it. But I'm not sure, to be honest with you, I'm not sure I want to go there. But, you know, I may have to, I don't know. So if any of you that live in a village that's got an RV that has a contact that can like put on a new serpentine belt for me, send that to me. Send me the name or a phone number or something. I'll give them a call and see what we can get done here. And don't send me somebody that's 100 miles away. I'm not doing that either. So I'm just narrowing it down. I'm not complaining. I'm just narrowing it down because I want to get that put on there. Once I get that put on there, I don't know. I just want this thing ready to go whenever I decide I want to go. That's all. So with that being said, support my sponsors if you can. I appreciate it and they appreciate it. I haven't gotten back up to Cartworks yet. Last time I called them a few days ago, they said they were 80% done with my cushions for the new furniture in the lanai. When I get them, I can finish that whole video up and then you can see what you think. I'll even tell you the price and all that kind of stuff, and you can decide whether you think it's worth it or not. These are going to be upgraded cushions because I'm tired of buying that cheap Chinese crap. So anyway, we'll see how that turns out. I'm glad you tuned in. I appreciate you. So be well, stay safe, stay aware, be aware.
And don't leave that key in that golf cart.
This week's news is brought to you by my YouTube and Patreon members.